Stellantis is the world's fourth largest automaker. It owns 14 brands including Alfa Romeo, Chrysler, Citroën, Dodge, Fiat, Jeep, Maserati, Opel and Peugeot. And just recently they published their quarterly results. And they are not good. Revenue went down by 12% year over year and the stock price dropped instantly by around 10%. Now, its price-to-earnings ratio is just 3.9. So we can buy some of the most popular and well-known car brands at a very, very interesting price. But is it worth it? The fact that something is cheap does not automatically makes it a good investment. First, we have to find out, is the business healthy? Can it grow? And what is its current value? Only then we can decide, do we want to invest or not? So let's take a look at the company. If you were to invest $1,000 into Stellantis 10 years ago, well, it wasn't actually Stellantis back then because the company was created in 2021 after a merger of Fiat and Peugeot. But anyway, 10 years ago, you could buy around 146 shares of Fiat, and now they would be worth something close to $3,197. And this company also pays dividends, so in that time you would get $1,328 as dividends. So if we add together the current value of shares and the dividends, we get $4,525. And that is a gain of 352% in 10 years. That is a great result, but that was in the past. So let's try to figure out the future of Stellantis by looking at the company itself. Individual insiders, that is an X, 0.1% of the company is owned by individual insiders, and we would like to see this number over 2%. But it is not as straightforward because Agnelli family, I'm sure I'm pronouncing it wrong, but they are the creators of Fiat, and Peugeot family own around 23% of Stellantis. But they have a limited presence in the management itself, so they are not officially treated as individual investors. And are they buying recently? That is an X. We don't see any transactions from insiders in the last year. And the super investors own this company. That is a check. There are 4 super investors owning shares of Stellantis. And they are Greg Alexander, Bill Miller, Francis Chu, and Lee Ainsley. And are super investors buying? That is an X, although Lee Ainsley bought over 10,000 shares recently, but Michael Berry sold all of his 400,000 shares, so the difference is meaningful. Return on invested capital, that is an X at 8.4%, and we want to see this number higher than 10%. So it's not bad, but not something we are really looking for. And what do we know about net profit margin? It is a check at 9.8%, and the industry median is 4.3%, so that is very nice. And now let's take a look at share buyback. It is a check. Since the merger in 2021, they bought back 0.6% of shares. And Stellantis will spend 3 billion euros on share buybacks in 2024. And the debt? It is a check. It would take them 1.5 years to pay the long-term debt with a current free cash flow. And when we look even closer, we see that they have twice as much cash as they have debt. So they are financially secure. Revenue growth, that is an X at 6% annual growth rate, and we would like to see this number higher than 10%. And free cash flow growth, that is a check at 37.6%. So that is very impressive. And earnings per share growth, that is also a check at 20.4%. That is very, very nice. This company has some impressive growth, but of course, some of it has to be attributed to the merger in 2021. The dividend yield is 6.6%, so shareholders can expect to get $1.65 per share in the next year. That is a very, very nice yield. And the payout ratio? That is a check at 25.9%, and we want to see the payout ratio somewhere between 20 and 50%. So in this case, we get a decent part of the earnings, but it is small enough not to disturb the growth of the company. And what about the dividend growth? It is a check at 18.9% 5-year growth rate. And we can see that since the merger, they are paying dividends every single year. Price to earnings ratio is just 3.9, so we are paying under $4 for every dollar this company is currently earning. That is super cheap. But let's use a discounted cash flow formula to value Stellantis, and for that we will make 3 scenarios of its future growth. So, in the low scenario, we will estimate a growth of 1% for the entire 10 years. In the medium, we predict 3% and then 2% growth, and in the high scenario, 5% for the entire 10 years. So the low scenario is predicting almost no growth. Medium is close to a predicted automobile market growth for the next few years, which is 3%, and the high scenario is lower than the growth we saw in the last years, but higher than the predicted average for the market. I believe we are rather conservative here. So, with such estimates, the intrinsic value in the low scenario is $62, in the medium $68, and in the high scenario $80. But we have to always apply a margin of safety to those prices. I use a 30% one. And with such a margin, we get in the low scenario $43, in the medium $48, and in the high one $56. And the current price is around $22. So it is all in the green. Stellantis is really cheap right now. So there are a few things that make Stellantis an interesting investment opportunity. They have nice margins thanks to a lot of strong brands. They have little debt, nice growth, and impressive dividend with a great yield of 6.6%. Actually, when we look at our Stock Ranking Pro, we see that it has one of the highest overall scores from over 80 companies currently in the ranking. And at the same time, its price is very interesting. We see that thanks to our discounted cash flow valuation and also by looking at the price to earnings ratio. But to put things into perspective, Stellantis sold 6,200,000 cars in 2023 and they have a market cap of $65 billion. Tesla sold 1,850,000 cars in 2023 and they have a market cap of $577 billion. So we pay $10,483 per every car sold by Stellantis and $311,891 per every car sold by Tesla. And of course, Tesla does other things as well, so it's not a really fair comparison. But the difference is just mind-blowing. I think Stellantis looks very interesting. It may have some short-term problems. For example, recently announced falling revenue is a sign of that. But in the long term, well, it's a healthy company, so who knows? And if you enjoyed this video, you may want to see my analysis of Tesla or a Chinese automaker, BYD. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.